Hello everybody, Eric and I are back for another video of a new player evaluating Arkham cards for the perspective of if they are not playable, playable, or busted, potentially busted.
Oh right, busted's good.
Yeah, busted's good. Busted's great. As I said in the previous video, Eric has very little, if not, I would say nil Arkham experience. That's I think probably the best way to put it. Because honestly, Arkham is a game that you could play multiple campaigns and still be learning new things. I don't even follow the rules anymore because they change every time I play them. It's my new pet peeve. Well, it's not my new pet peeve. It's been a long-standing pet peeve of the game is that things just change suddenly. Yeah, but we are going to dive in. We have, I think, another 15 cards here for Eric to give their opinion on, and we're going to start with one that I know I'm very interested to see because it was quite contentious when we first started playing the game. We have Dr. Milan Christopher. So this is a 4-cost ally. Takes up the ally slot. Soaks for 1 and 2. You get +1 book passively. And as a reaction, after you successfully investigate, gain 1 resource.
I'm going to say that I don't like the fact that he is holding open a book but looking somewhere else. That's something that upsets me right now. His eyes are not drawn onto the book.
Yep.
I'm going to say that this is probably 4 resources, though. I'm going to say he's good. Mm-hmm. I'm going to say I'd play him. Mm-hmm. I'm going to say that +1 book just passively is great. Mm-hmm. And then the fact that event just triggers whenever you successfully investigate and you gain a resource is great. And he's got 3 soak if at some point he stops being useful and it's time for Christopher to take a walk, then I'd say he's good. I'd say I'd run him.
So fun fact, when we first started playing, we didn't really like this card. We didn't think it was good. We didn't think it was good. Then they released something called the Taboo List, where it's basically like trying to balance cards that weren't balanced or make cards more playable that weren't, like patch notes for a game. And Dr. Milan Christopher was tabooed to say, after you successfully investigate, exhaust Dr. Milan Christopher and gain a resource. Because without the taboo list, this dude just makes you money hand over fucking fist, and he is busted as hell. He is good. He's the generally most played Seeker ally today.
I believe it.
Because he just gives you a book, and he gives you 1 money a turn taboo, endless money. So, like, if you investigate 3 times...
Yeah, you get $3.
Yeah. And, like, if we compare that to that burglar one we looked at the last episode, you're getting clues, but you're also getting the same amount of money.
Yeah, no. Yeah. Like, this guy is the richest entomologist that has ever existed.
Yes, yeah. And then we actually kind of, we kind of just laugh about it because we thought we did not like him when we first played. Like, even in our reviews, we were just like, he's fine. He's, like, fine to okay. But no, he's very good.
This makes me want to play Seekers, I'm not going to lie.
Seekers are great. They're the strongest class.
I believe it.
They're my favorite class is Survivor, and then Seeker and Rogue kind of just rotate between 2nd and 3rd. They're both great classes.
I think I'm slowly leaning into yellow and purple. Yeah. But I'm excited to play red.
Yeah. All right, we got Forced Learning.
Ooh, I hate that.
So this is a permanent, which means it cannot leave play. And you cannot get rid of it no matter what. As soon as it's in your deck, it's there forever, and it's just always hanging out. Limit 1 per deck, and you have to purchase it at deck creation, so you can't buy it later. You increase your deck size by 15, and during each upkeep phase, instead of drawing 1 card, you draw 2 cards and discard 1 of them.
I'm in. I want this card. I want to play it. I want to play it all the time.
Yeah.
I love this. This is such high risk, high reward, and I love it.
So... generally, this card is actually, I think, a little bit strange. Because I don't think... I think the general consensus, which I don't know if... I don't know even where I sit on this card. But I think the general consensus is that this card is more unplayable than playable. Mostly because... most of the time, a deck in Arkham... is like you're focused on like a specific few cards in your deck. And more deck size means harder time finding them. Even if you're drawing 2 cards a turn, you're still like gonna have a harder time finding with a bigger deck size. However, if your deck is just like 45 great cards, then this is playable in that.
Yeah.
There's also some fun stuff that you can do with it with like the Survivor class, where you can like discard a card that you can play from your discard pile, because they have cards that do that and keep the card in your hand.
Yeah, I was immediately like, this is a graveyard recursion self-mill mechanic, and I am MTGing all over this.
But I think that the weird thing about forced learning that I've only played this card once, so my knowledge on it is quite low. I'm even using this is to learn myself, because as I always say, I'm still learning about Arkham every time I play. But it generally makes your deck like less consistent, which is weird. Yeah, and it's just like one of those weird things. It also has a horrible interaction, which always feels bad. If you draw a weakness and a good card, you can't just choose to discard the weakness, so you have to discard the other card and draw your weakness. So no matter what, you're always drawing your weakness with it. And if you draw two weaknesses, you don't get to discard one, you have to resolve them both.
Aww.
But yeah, it's just one of those things where like the general sentiment is just that it feels a little bit more clunky than like the dream of the card reads. But I don't think there was a wrong answer for this one. That's why I put it in here.
I want to run it.
Yeah.
I do.
All right, we got Look What I Found. So this is a Survivor card. 2 cost, commits for 2 books. Fast, play after you fail a skill test by 2 or less while investigating. Discover 2 clues in your location.
This is so good. This is so good. I want to run this with that lady. The lady I'm running.
Stella, yeah.
I want to fail my first test just to fail it. Get this, and then actually commit cards to the actual investigation I do on my next action, and get all the clues from the location.
Yeah. Card is probably pretty close to busted, I think.
Yeah.
In the right deck. Card's great, though. Yeah, it's really good.
I love this. And it's 2 book.
Yeah, especially, yeah. It's especially in Stella, right? Because then you get your action back after failing. Yeah. All right. Now we got Oops. So this is a 2 cost. Double Fist, fast. Play after you fail a skill test by 2 or less while attacking an enemy engaged with you. Deal this attack's damage to a different enemy at your location.
I'm gonna say this is good. I bet the monsters sometimes hit way harder than the investigators.
So I put this one in here to trick you. I put the other one in first to lull you into a sense of security.
It worked.
But this card is actually unplayable.
I love it.
Yeah. And it really is, the real reason that it is unplayable is because it has to be a different enemy. Like, maybe at like 4 players, it's more likely there to be multiple enemies at your location, but in 2 players, this doesn't happen often enough for it to trigger.
There's no chance that I'm just like, Cthulhu's punch me, and I'm just like, no, that Gug.
Yeah, no, it doesn't happen as often as it seems.
Okay.
What I call this, for me, Oops. It's called Oops because that's what I say when I put it in my deck. There is a level 2 version that just deals a damage to an enemy at your location, and that one's playable.
Okay, I see that.
But it does require experience. And it's actually kind of funny, because I did do this. This was a suggestion as well from one of the patrons, to do Look What I Found first, because this card is incredible. And then the one that like reads the same, but for attacking, is not. It's kind of actually funny how it works that way.
I mean, you got me. Yeah. You got me.
Yeah. But yeah, no, it's
I'm
just
the second guy in the picture, like, whoa!
Yeah. But it's generally it's just because there requires 2 enemies at your location, which is harder than it sounds.
That makes me feel much better, actually, about the game.
Like, generally in, like, this game, this is also, like, some of my own personal bias for playstyle, but I want all my cards to be always active 100% of the time. And then this one goes down further because of that. But this is also general consensus for Oops is an Oops. All right, we got Ceremonial Sickle. This one's probably the most complicated one so far. So Mystics have a way to use their brain for everything. Okay, like that's like their big thing. This one is a little bit different because it lets you use your brain or your fist, but I'll just say the Mystic class generally has a high brain and they use it for their spells and their stuff. So Ceremonial Sickle is a 3-cost asset, takes up the hand slot. As an action, you fight. You either use your brain or get +1 fist for this attack. When you initiate this ability, choose 1. Exhaust Ceremonial Sickle and place a Doom on it to get +1 skill value and deal +1 damage for this attack. Or, if this attack defeats an enemy, remove 1 Doom from Ceremonial Sickle. I will also say, only the top one has the cost of exhausting the Ceremonial Sickle, so even if it's exhausted, you can still use the fight action and choose the bottom action of the 2.
I like this card. This card feels really strong. First, it switches me to a brain, which obviously I want as a mystic. Or if I happen to be a weird fighty mystic, it's got a benefit there. It's a 0 experience asset, so it's also just a bonus fight in other decks who probably don't run it. But the fact that you can gain Doom and then lose that Doom seems really strong to me, because you can kind of choose, because it says choose one.
Yeah. So you can choose to either get the extra damage or just attack and potentially remove Doom.
Yeah.
So this one's sitting in a very weird spot. So this is from the newest expansion. The general consensus seems to be that Ceremonial Sickle is unplayable.
Oh.
But I personally think that's more because there's not a good home for it, because the other options are just better than using this, like in the other options. However, the other thing that really makes it hard is that if you put a Doom on and then you miss, it falls apart.
Yeah.
Right? Like, it's just, it falls apart. It's just like, it's one of those things that, like, is just a little bit, the risk is not worth the reward most of the time.
That's fair.
Yeah.
That's fair. That's too bad, because I like that second power because it's flexible, because it's +1 on skill value.
Yes.
So if you're using this for melee, you're getting that +2 melee.
Yeah.
If you're using this for brain, you're getting a +1 brain.
Yep. And it's also, like, generally the Mystic cards, they have charges, which is like ammo, right? This you can use indefinitely, and just requires you to take some risks. But it generally, I think that the consensus online is that it's on the weak side. Like, some say even, like, unplayable. And I'm not going to disagree. I am a little bit hotter than they are, but I think I am wrong. On that.
Fair,
I think
fair.
I think I'm wrong in my own belief in the Ceremonial Sickle.
I'm distracted by it because in the ancient world of like Warcraft 2, this looks like the type of weapon I would equip to my Death Knight.
Yeah.
So I'm just like, I want this.
Yeah. Definitely. All right, we got Stick to the Plan. So this is a 3 experience Guardian card. It's permanent and exceptional. So exceptional means it actually costs double its level. So this costs 6 experience to put into your deck. However, it has the effect, as a reaction, before you draw your opening hand, you search your deck for up to 3 different tactic and or supply events, and attach them to Stick to the Plan, then shuffle your deck. Cards attached to Stick to the Plan may be played as if they were in your hand. Additional cost to play them, you exhaust Stick to the Plan.
I'm going to say this is definitely playable. I'm not going to call it busted just because of how expensive it is in experience, but I'm going to say this is definitely playable.
That's 100% right.
Yeah.
I think it's totally fair for its cost, but it's very good.
Oh.
Yeah, but it's just not busted because I think it requires 6 experience, but I think it's a fantastic card.
Yeah, I mean, this is
2 thumbs up.
Yeah, this adds 3 cards to your hand anytime you need them, anytime you want them.
Yep.
Throw that out.
Yeah. All right, we got Monster Slayer. So this is a 1-cost, 5 experience Guardian card. Fight. If this attack succeeds against a non-elite enemy, defeat that enemy.
Bad.
Why do you say that?
I'm going to say it's bad because you've been telling me all about the hump. And I'm going to say that this is bad because if you're in this class, you should be doing enough damage to kill this enemy anyways.
It's generally... You're right, it is unplayable. This card is completely unplayable. And it's because... like you're probably efficient enough to... Your 5 experience is better spent on a weapon that's going to do more.
Yeah, that's going to actually deal damage, especially against non-elite enemies.
Yeah, because, defeat an enemy, and generally, they'll have 3 health, so just kill it the other way. Don't spend 5 experience. Yeah, 100%. I put that one in there to trick you, and you did not get tricked.
Yes.
I put that one in, but no, that was great. All right, we got Arcane Research. So this is a 0-cost Mystic permanent.
Why are you making me like purple so much?
When you purchase Arcane Research, you suffer 1 mental trauma. So trauma is mental and physical trauma basically means you always start with that amount of damage on your character when a scenario starts. After each scenario of a campaign, reduce the experience cost of the first spell card you upgrade before the next scenario by 1.
I like this card. I'm going to say this card is busted. I'm going to say this is a busted card.
I would also say it's busted. I think in all fairness, though, Mystics need this because they have a lot of expensive experience cards in their class that they need to upgrade into. Most of them are spells, but it's busted in the sense that, like, you need to find a reason to not play it.
There's a mono black deck in standard right now that runs 4 Chancellors of Dross because it's a black burn deck. And and the whole idea is just you have them to deal that 3 damage from the opening hand, and then you burn them to play more burn on black, and that's what this feels like to me.
It is. It's kind of just like one of those things where you take some trauma, and Mystics have a lot of trauma soak and a lot of trauma healing built into their kits as well. Sorry, not trauma healing, mental like horror damage healing. Yeah.
No, this seems great.
It is. All right, we got Drawing Thin. So this is a 0-cost survivor asset. It's a talent. As a reaction, when you initiate a skill test, exhaust Drawing Thin, increase the difficulty of this test by 2, and then you either gain 2 resources or draw a card.
This is unplayable in most decks and super playable in the one deck that wants it.
This card is busted.
What?
Yeah. This card, it was like, I think, one of the quickest taboos they've ever done. Because, so there's a combo that is particularly good with Drawing Thin, but I think even without it, the card is just incredible. You're probably going to play these, I imagine you're going to want to put these in your Stella deck.
Yeah, because that's what I was thinking.
Yeah.
That's the combo.
But no, there's a survivor card called Track Shoes, where it's when you move into an adjacent location, you can test foot 3. If you succeed, move to a connecting location before enemies engage you. So you can just move and then get 2 resources and a card twice, because you can have 2 of these in play. However, even outside of that combo, the card is just really good because you'll generally know when you can do this, and you can just get resource overload. But yeah, card is probably one of the most busted cards that came out at level 0 in the game.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Oh, I thought increasing difficulty test was going to be bad, but yeah.
It is generally, and that's what the designers must have thought too, in all fairness, right? It is bad, but the problem is you can just pass the other tests that matter, right? Yeah. Or just find a free test somewhere, on your Track Shoes, where it becomes insane.
Track Shoes.
Yeah. We got Pathfinder. So this is a 3-cost Seeker talent, 1 experience. As a lightning bolt during your turn, if you're not engaged with any enemies, exhaust Pathfinder, move to a connecting location.
I'm going to say it's playable, but I don't like it.
Why don't you like it?
I don't like that it's 3 cost and an experience. Oh, wait, no, I lied. It's playable. Because it's a lightning bolt, which means it doesn't take an action and it lets you move. Yeah. So it lets you skip a useless action.
Yeah, you got the shortcut.
I got there.
So this one actually got tabooed to be 3 experience, because at 1 experience it was too strong. Free movement is very good.
Yeah.
Free movement. It allows you as a seeker to spend more time investigating. Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, which is very good. I don't know how many more we have. Oh, this one, Intrepid. Okay. So this is a skill, again. It's a Guardian skill. And if the skill test is successful, you get to add Intrepid to your play area as an asset with the text. You get +1 to book, fist, and foot. And at the end of the round, you get to discard Intrepid.
I'm going to say that this is good. But I want to trigger it with a free action or one of those weird free tests.
So you get 3 actions out
So I get 3 actions out of it.
That's generally a good thought process to have, because the idea behind this card is that you use it in the Mythos phase, you pass the brain test, you get +1 to each of your skills during the other phase. The reality is that never happens, so this card's just unplayable.
I love that.
And it's just one of those things that I think the text on this card is, in all fairness, good text, right? It's just too hard to trigger consistently, which makes it so that it's not playable.
What if it was +2 to every one of your skills?
I would still think it's probably unplayable, because the time you want it, you can't get it.
I love that.
I think this card might have a home one day in the future. I built a deck that tried to take advantage of it, and it didn't do great. But I think that this card might one day find a home in an investigator that's Guardian that is more likely to use their brain for things, but right now it just doesn't exist.
That's fair.
And it's just because it's not consistent.
What if you put this in one of those big brain mystics?
Then you don't need your other stats then, because you're just
true.
using your brain for everything.
That's true.
Yeah. Oh, okay, yeah, now I remember how this one goes. All right, this one's really fucking weird, all right? So this is a 4-cost, 5 experience mystic card. It takes up a hand slot and an arcane slot. So you have 2 arcane slots which can hold spells, generally. So this is an item, Relic and Tome, uses 1 charge. Replenish this charge at the start of each round. You may resolve abilities on spell assets in your hand by revealing them from your hand. Treat true magic as if it was the revealed asset. To pay its cost, spend charges, perform its effect, etc.
This is good. This is a good card. I mean, this is a late card. This is 5 experience, 4 resources. But I imagine this is a card you build around. Because once you can put this down on the field, you can just treat every card in your hand as if it's a spell that you have already put down and put out.
So I think the card is completely playable. I agree with that. The weird problem with True Magic, though, is that I've seen it played, and it impressed me when I saw it in the deck. Patron did it in a Luke deck, I think. One of the investigators you want to play.
The Dreamer, right?
Yep. And it worked. It did things, but it's just very expensive. Yeah.
Yeah.
But it is really cool, and this is another one that there was, like, once again, I think no wrong answers. Just, you know.
I like it, but just because I also love an MTG having effects where you're just like, oh yeah, I'm technically casting this card, or I've exiled 6 of my cards, and now I'm playing them for free.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah, I like this. Although it's not free, I notice, and that's smart.
Yeah, no, it's not
Otherwise
free.
that would be busted.
Yeah, but it's also great because, like, so there's some mystic assets, spell assets that don't take charges, so you can just, like, use them. Like, be like, boom, boom, and then use the big one after. I think it's really cool, and I want to try playing with it, but I haven't. All right, we got Deciphered Reality. So this is a 4-cost, 5 experience Seeker event. So spoiler alert, we're going to be just talking about expensive cards for the last few.
I love it.
So Investigate. The difficulty of the skill test is equal to the highest shroud value among revealed locations in play. If you succeed, discover 1 clue from each revealed location in play.
I'm going to say this is bad.
Why do you think that?
I'm going to say this is bad because you're already an investigation machine. You don't want to be opening up a whole bunch of areas that you haven't finished investigating clues off of anyways. And so by the time you're playing this and wanting to get this thing to go big, you're probably already on your last room anyways, which means you're burning this to gain way more clues than you probably need at the highest shroud value, which may not be high, but I feel like this is such a big fuck you to the game, but at a point where you've already won. Like, you're either winning or you're not using this.
Yeah, you're 100% right on everything.
Okay.
This one, the patrons wanted to trick you, and they did not. Because, no, you're 100% right. It reads so explosive, right? But exactly that. By the time all the locations are revealed, you probably have already won the scenario and all the clues are off of them.
Yeah, or you're dead.
Or you're dead, yeah. And there's, like, times where, like, it does work really well, but it also costs 4. You have to make a test, right?
Yeah.
It's like, it's very close to the Monster Slayer one that we looked at earlier. Yeah, there's just, like, you could be more efficient than this card for the same experience. All right, we got Flute of the Outer Gods.
Oh, I want this to be good.
So this is an X-cost mystic spell. So there's going to be a lot we're going to be talking about here. So it's exceptional, so it actually costs 8 experience. It's Seal. So Seal takes tokens out of the bag and puts them on the card. Up to X curse tokens. So curse tokens are negative tokens that when you draw them, it gives you -2 and you have to draw another token. As an action, you can exhaust Flute of the Outer Gods and release 1 curse token sealed on it. Choose a non-elite enemy at your location, and either move the chosen enemy to a connecting location, or deal its damage to any enemy at its location. This action does not provoke attacks of opportunity.
I am going to call this an amazing card, but because I'm never going to use the exhaust mechanic, I'm going to suck all those curse tokens out of the bag and then do nothing with them. This is a good card.
So this card is also notoriously unplayable.
No!
And it's mostly because it does nothing. Like, even for the sealing, generally you can seal better or, like, lock them better. Or generally you can actually use those curse tokens to your advantage.
Oh,
right?
no.
But the reason is because, like, even for example, like, say you wanted to seal all 10 on it, it still costs you 10 resources.
But that's 10 no. That's rounds without curse.
Yeah.
That's rounds without curse.
They actually recently tabooed it to be only cost like 4 XP, and it's still not being played, I think.
Amazing.
Yeah. It's just for some reason, just a weird card that does not do anything. I built a deck around it. I got all 10 curse tokens on it. And I used it twice, and it wasn't worth it. It wasn't worth it. It was sick, though, to do it. It was sick to do it at least once.
I believe it. Just to be like, I'm not going to play it.
On the plus side, though, I will say, I'm showing you a lot of janky cards that are fun to build around and aren't good. There also are a lot of janky cards that are fun to build around and are good. So there's still a lot in there for you. This one, not so much. All right, we got the Gold Pocket Watch. This is a 2-cost, 4 experience rogue card. It has the subtitle Stealing Time. It's exceptional, so it costs 8 XP. Takes up the accessory slot, which you only have 1 of. As a lightning bolt, when a phase begins, remove the gold pocket watch from the game, skip this phase, Or as a lightning bolt after a phase ends, remove the gold pocket watch from the game, repeat that phase. So there's the Mythos phase, Investigator phase, Enemy phase, and Upkeep phase.
This seems really good. I could see using this to just completely escape a Mythos phase when you're in a desperate place, or to double an Investigate phase when your players have got a good board state set up and they can just absolutely roll a situation.
No.
I would say for 2 and 4 experience, I'd say this is a good card.
Yeah, I don't think, like, I think obviously it's close to busted, but it does cost 8 experience. But the fact, because you only do it once a scenario, is good. Yeah, it's a great card.
Yeah.
It's a winner. Oh, that's it. That's sad. So we just, I feel like we're just getting into it in those last little bit. But no, Eric, you killed it. You did great that one.
Flute of the Fluty Flute.
Yeah, because I think it was only flute, and I think like otherwise you were generally.
No,
and
I got
oops.
oopsed.
Yeah,
I oopsed.
You got oopsed. But I think generally, like you nailed, like Monster Slayer, Stick to the Plan, Arcane Research.
I got Drawing Thin Roll.
You said it was good. You said it was good in one. No, you actually no. I guess you did because you said it was good in one deck, but it's just straight fucking gross. Got Pathfinder right, Intrepid, True Magic. You nailed this one. And also you nailed this one like at like a college grade level. You know, if this was like a test, it's like in like grade 1, they're like clues are good. Like that's, and then you're like, but like clues are good, but you get them at such a rate that by the time you need to play this, you just like nailed it. That one really impressed me. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed this. We probably won't do this again. Because I think Eric's gonna start learning, but I mean, there's so many cards that we could like do it in some way. But I also like, one thing I really want to do on the channel is showcase Eric learning the game, and I think this is a great way to do it. While also just like, I love hearing someone's just fresh perspective on things. It's really fun. It's really fun. I hope you enjoyed it too. Thank you so much for watching. Have a good one, and as always, a GG's.